I want to maybe the last question for today. We mentioned it several times, but I want to hone on that issue because we talked about big data. We talked about being exposed to fire hose of data. But then there is the other point, right? You're a startup, you're in a situation that no one has been before. You're walking on a virgin ground, and now you're asking yourself, I don't have data to compare to. How do we get confident decision using QI in these type of situations where it seems like actually we don't have data as opposed to do have data?
So I would find it hard to, it's an excellent question. I would find it hard to pick an industry or a startup that is so foreign that there's nothing to compare it to, right? There was a preceding industry, you fit in some sort of industry pocket of some sort. There's some data that you can look at to say, even if this particular category or solution didn't exist, we were serving constituents, or we are trying to serve constituents that were served a different way before. Guess what? That's a starting point for the data. And then from there, look out and say, what problem are we solving? How has that been solved other ways? Oh, we're solving it in some completely new way. That's fantastic. But again, you expose another set of data of how things have been solved. How has this been tackled before and failed? Guess what? That is another set of data that you can look at and say, well, here are negative outcomes, which I can learn from. So the notion that there's no data out there, I suppose there are some examples, but I think they're very few.
Yeah, I love that you referenced the problem, because you're building a business or coming up with an innovation to address either some customer need or some problem. So that is your starting point. So taking that and really understanding that problem or understanding that need in a way that no one else may have, or analyzing it and then saying, okay, and here's our really unique, creative, innovative solution. But there is some starting point, because what is driving you? What's the catalyst for what you're doing? There's some starting point. Understanding that could be your first data point.
And to me, one of the exciting things about quantitative intuition, one of the reasons why I find this combination of quantitative and intuition so useful, is exactly that data is not a crystal ball. You will never get to a point where you're 100% confident in the decision. And that's where intuition needs to feed into that, and feeling confident with that decision, because you bring with you your business acumen, because you bring with you everything that you've been learning up to that point, and combine that with the very rich or very thin data that we have for that problem at hand. This is what helps us build this confidence in decisions that we are making. And again, realizing that even then, when you make the decisions, uncertainty would still be left, but we are always better equipped if we are using the data in our advantage to illuminate some of the road, even if it doesn't illuminate all of the road.
Right.